You wake up with a pounding headache. You reach into a drawer without even thinking. A painkiller, an antibiotic, a bottle of cough syrup. Within minutes, you're already expecting to feel better. It's one of the simplest routines of modern life. But for almost every human who has ever lived, there was no pharmacy waiting around the corner. No antibiotics, no painkillers, no hospitals, no prescriptions. A small cut could become life-threatening. A fever might last for days. A toothache could make eating impossible. Even something as ordinary as an infected splinter could end a life. And yet, our ancestors survived for hundreds of thousands of years. They raised children, healed broken bones, recovered from terrible injuries. Some even lived long enough to become grandparents. So how did ancient humans survive in a world without medicine? The morning air carried the smell of damp earth as a hunting party moved quietly through the forest. An old hunter stepped over a fallen log, his spear balanced carefully in one hand. Behind him, a younger man followed, watching every footprint pressed into the soft ground. The forest was alive with birdsong. Leaves rustled overhead. Somewhere nearby, water flowed over smooth stones. Then everything changed. The old hunter froze. A wild boar exploded from the undergrowth. The animal charged before anyone could react. There was a sharp cry. The younger hunter stumbled backward, clutching his thigh. Blood spread quickly between his fingers. The boar vanished into the trees as suddenly as it had appeared. For a moment, no one moved. The injury wasn't just painful, it threatened the entire group. If the wound became infected, the young hunter might never walk properly again. If he couldn't walk, he couldn't hunt. If he couldn't hunt, the family might not survive the coming winter. The old hunter knelt beside him. He pressed clean moss against the wound to slow the bleeding, while another member of the group hurried toward the river with a skin pouch. No one panicked. This wasn't the first injury they had seen. For ancient humans, wounds were an unavoidable part of life. Sharp stone tools, animal attacks, falls from rocky cliffs, burns from campfires, broken bones during hunts. Every generation faced injuries that would send many of us straight to an emergency room. Yet archaeological discoveries tell a surprising story. Skeletons tens of thousands of years old sometimes show broken arms, shattered ribs, crushed legs, and severe fractures that healed completely. Healing like that takes weeks, sometimes months. A person with a badly broken leg couldn't gather food, couldn't hunt, couldn't keep up with the group. Someone else had to carry water, share food, protect them. Their survival reveals something remarkable. Humans weren't surviving because individuals were stronger than nature. They survived because they cared for one another. As the injured hunter was helped back toward camp, every step sent pain through his leg. Sweat mixed with dirt across his face. Children watched silently as the adults laid him beside the fire. An elderly woman examined the wound carefully. She cleaned away dirt with fresh water before wrapping it tightly in strips of softened animal hide. The child beside her asked quietly, "Will he die?" She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked toward the forest. "Not if we keep him alive long enough to heal." For thousands of generations, knowledge like this wasn't written in books. It lived inside people. Which plants soothed pain, which leaves reduced swelling, which roots settled an upset stomach, which berries should never be eaten. Mistakes could be deadly. Lessons became stories. Stories became traditions. Traditions became survival. Long before chemistry laboratories existed, humans were carefully observing the natural world. Certain tree barks eased pain. Some aromatic plants discouraged insects from biting wounds. Honey, collected at great risk from wild bees, helped keep wounds moist and could slow the growth of harmful bacteria because of its natural antimicrobial properties. No one understood microbes, but they understood results. If something helped once, they remembered. If it harmed someone, they remembered that too. Generation after generation, experience became a library without paper. But even the greatest knowledge had limits. The real enemy often couldn't be seen. A tiny cut made while skinning an animal, a thorn buried beneath the skin, an infected tooth. Today we know bacteria can turn small injuries into life-threatening infections. Our ancestors had no microscopes. They couldn't see what was happening inside a wound. They only watched as skin became red, hot, swollen. Then fever arrived. Sometimes the strongest hunter in the group became weaker with every passing day, not because of the injury itself, but because invisible organisms had entered the body. Many people never recovered. Disease shaped human history long before humans understood what disease actually was. Yet evolution quietly fought back. Over countless generations, individuals with stronger immune responses were more likely to survive infections and pass those advantages to their children. The human immune system became one of the most sophisticated defense networks on Earth. Not because illness disappeared, but because it was relentless. Every fever, every infection, every epidemic helped shape the biology we carry today. As the weeks passed, the young hunter slowly recovered. His wound closed. Fresh scar tissue replaced torn flesh. He leaned on a walking stick at first, then gradually began walking without it. Children gathered around him, fascinated by the long scar stretching across his leg. One little girl touched it gently. "Does it still hurt?" He smiled. "Only when it rains." The adults laughed softly, not because they believed the weather caused pain, but because scars became stories. Every scar proved someone had survived something that might have ended their life. And in ancient communities, survivors carried knowledge as valuable as food. The old hunter knew where dangerous animals nested. The elderly woman remembered which plants eased fever. The grandmother recognized poisonous mushrooms at a glance. Their greatest medicine wasn't hidden in a single leaf or root. It was memory. Shared memory. Knowledge passed from one generation to the next. Today, we often think medicine exists only inside bottles and hospitals. But modern science itself grew from thousands of years of careful observation. Many medicines have origins in compounds first discovered in nature. Aspirin was developed from chemicals related to those found in willow bark. Numerous antibiotics, pain treatments, and other drugs trace their roots to plants, fungi, or microorganisms that people interacted with long before they understood why they worked. Our ancestors didn't possess modern medicine. They possessed curiosity, patience, experience, and communities willing to care for those who could not care for themselves. Tonight, if you reach for a bottle of medicine before going to bed, take a moment to imagine another world, a world where healing depended on the wisdom of an elder, the kindness of your family, the strength of your own immune system, and the hope that tomorrow your body would be just a little stronger than it was today. Because for ancient humans, medicine wasn't something they found on a shelf. It was something they discovered together. One wound, one lesson, and one generation at a time.